Teenage Bottlerocket, in a sense, is a bit of a punk rock anomaly. As redundant as that might seem, let me explain in the best way possible. They are a Ramones core band. How many Ramones core bands do you know that have as big of a following nowadays as the Bomb Pops, or Direct Hit, or the Pears, or the Lawrence Arms? Probably not many coming to mind. Not to say that they probably don't exist, but Teenage Bottlerocket, as a Ramones core band, which is basically punk rock on easy mode, transcends throughout the entire punk rock scene, and everyone loves them, to my knowledge. They're a fun fucking band, despite the fact that their songs are extremely simple and they're extremely straightforward. It's not meant to be taken seriously, it's meant to be fun, and they're a fun fucking band. So today, we're going to be ranking all of their albums from Another Way to Stay Rad, worst to best. Before we start the list off, I want to name two other records that deserve a mention, even though they're not on the list. The first one is Stealing the Covers. This one is a compilation of the band covering other smaller pop-punk band songs, and it's pretty good. The reason why I want to mention that is because not only is it an enjoyable record to listen to, but they made the record and dedicated it to a, at the time, recently deceased Brandon Carlisle, who was the original drummer as well as twin brother of the frontman of the band, Ray Carlisle. To this day, he's dearly missed. And I will say Darren Chuka really is doing a great job filling his shoes. Another record is Ray Carlisle's solo record as Ray Rocket, Do You Want to Go to Tijuana? It's a great record. It's got some really good acoustic versions of these songs that have, that span throughout the entire discography. And I will say too, the final track, the full band version of First Time, is absolutely tear-jerking. Considering that that was the last song to feature Brandon before he died. That's heavy. But with that out of the way, let's get to the ranking. Now, the worst or least favorite record of mine by Teenage Bottlerocket is their very first record, Another Way. This was around when the band started. It had Ray Carlisle on bass and vocals, and they did not have Cody Templeman and Miguel Chen in the lineup yet. This album is still very fun, but kind of a cookie cutter album considering there's a lot of other Ramones core bands that kind of fit that area. Some of the songs definitely are a precursor to what would come later on. It has a couple early versions of songs that would be featured on their next album after this. But my main gripe with this album is the production value. It's not the highest, but it still works. It's still a very listenable and enjoyable record for what it is. There are some very good songs on this, and a lot of these songs could really be, featured in Tony Hawk, in my humble opinion. It's an enjoyable record. It's definitely one of those that's kind of a guilty pleasure a little bit. I wouldn't say I spin it all the time, but when I do spin it, I have a good time. Even the little bonus tracks on the deluxe version I have, they're pretty damn good. Up next, we have Warning Device. Now, this one is lower on the list because I felt there was a little bit of an oversaturation of songs about girls or relationship troubles. But if you're into that sort of stuff, or if you're going through relationship troubles, this would definitely be the album to go to. But in my opinion, if they cut the songs about girls down by half, I would enjoy it a little better. It'd be higher up on the list. I wouldn't say it would be necessarily number one, but it would definitely be, a lot less browbeating, if you will. But yeah, it's just, they could definitely be better. But it was the first record to solidify their solid lineup of Ray, Brandon, Cody, and Miguel. I am very glad that this is not their peak. Let's just say that. Up next is their album Total. This album is definitely higher up with the kind of fun, immature kind of way they're going. So Cool's pretty good. Bloodbath at Burger King is one of my favorites. So Far Away is another good closer that they have. Wasting Time was great off of Warning Device, and this one has So Far Away, and it's pretty good. I don't really have much negative to say, but I also really don't have extreme praise for this record. But still, it's enjoyable. Like I said, I'm going to say this over and over again. The band's fun. They're not supposed to be taken seriously. Just hit play and enjoy. Up next is Tales from Wyoming. This record kind of experiments a little bit outside of the typical Ramones core, in a sense. I mean, it's not like textbook by the book Ramones core 100% of the time. It's, they got some good songs. They even have an acoustic number at the very end of this album, which kind of throws you off at first, but the fact that the song is good, it doesn't take away from it. It's just a good record. They even have a song about Minecraft, which is, you know, kind of cool. I don't play Minecraft, but I liked the music video when it came out. It was really cool how they had, how they all looked like Steve. So, not to mention Haunted House is one of the catchiest horror songs, or horror-themed songs, that I've ever heard. And the music video is pretty fun, too. Up next is the first ever record I've heard from them from front to back was They Came From the Shadows. Like probably a lot of people, my very, very, very first Teenage Bottlerocket song was Bigger Than Kiss. That's kind of how I discovered Ramones Core. I discovered Teenage Bottlerocket before I discovered Screeching Weasel. It was still one of those bands that I was like, you know what, I can actually kind of get behind this. I Don't Want to Go is pretty fun. One of the lines that I really like kind of reminds me of when I used to work at Allied Record Exchange, which is a record store in my area. I don't want to go down to the record store. I showed her all the cool things to buy there. All the posers selling those CDs are a bunch of fucking assholes. Yeah, reminds me of my time working there. It's got some songs about girls again, but these ones are good. And I want to say also, if Fatso Goes Nutzoid was made 5 years prior, right, the song could have easily been featured in Tony Hawk's Underground. Which now that I mention that too, Teenage Bottlerocket did have a song in Skate 2, Crashing. How the fuck did I forget about that when I was talking about Total? Still, I absolutely love the record, and again, has an amazing ender, TODAYO, fucking amazing. Coming in at number 2 is their latest record they have out, Stay Rad. This one's a banger. I know I said a bunch of times that this band is fun and not supposed to be taken seriously, but in this record, they have a couple mature songs. One of them is a song called Everything to Me, which is about Ray Carlisle's son, Milo. Now, I don't have children. I don't want children. But you gotta admire that this dude loves his son so much to write a punk rock song about him that isn't cheesy. That's one for the books. And one of the lower points in other people's opinions on this record is Stupid Song, which is one of my favorites from the record. Because, you know, it's just about, you know, you're working and then you're tired as fuck at the end of the day and you just want to sit, relax, and listen to some fucking music. Listen to some stupid song, a song that any idiot can sing. This one's definitely a high point. It's a little bit farther away from the textbook Ramones core that they were known for on Total and Warning Device. You gotta admire how good the songs actually are. It doesn't always have to be by the book Ramones core. And my number one favorite is Freak Out. This one has one of my favorite songs, NECROCOMICON, and also has another fucking amazing couple songs called In the Pit. Who Killed SENSEI was fucking awesome. And Headbanger. I showed my dad the music video of that and he told me that it reminded him of like an SNL sketch. And in a way, yeah, it looks like it. This album has some of my favorite Teenage Bottlerocket guitar solos, which isn't necessarily saying much because their guitar solos are one note at a time most of the time. But this one is awesome. There's actually, across the records, there are a bunch of good guitar solos and guitar leads. Bloodbath at Burger King has a fucking amazing lead. Stay Rad has a couple harmonizing guitar solos. Bigger Than Kiss is fucking blistering. NECROCOMICON has an awesome solo. So does In the Pit. And of course, like I always say, the ender on this album is probably my favorite out of all of them. Go With the Flow. I could listen to that song for hours at a time. Overall, at least my most enjoyable record.